Redshift here, doing my part to shift perceptions out of the pink and into the red. The reason that women have greater anxiety than men is, I think, not just because of what I said in the past, which is that they're more dishonest than men and thus are more anxious because they're afraid of getting caught lying. I think it's more than that. I think it's that being amoral, they don't know the rules of life. And society these days is so chaotic and immoral and divided that women look around and see some people saying these are the rules, and other people saying no, these rules are the rules of life and society and stuff. And the government is saying something else is the rules. And the reality is just what you can get away with anyway, because, that's just the truth underlying all of reality. That it's nothing is really about anything other than power. It really, when it comes down to, when it really, really comes down to it, it's really only ever about power. You see, because evil, selfish people, whatever, they'll never respect the rules, so they'll always cheat. So you have to always be able to use force to enforce what is fair and what is just and stuff, you see? So, reality is just what you can get away with anyway. And so women are like, what are the rules? The Christians are saying one thing, the secular people are saying one thing, but, the secular people are not necessarily saying what the government is saying. The government is saying, using marijuana is wrong, and a lot of the secular people smoke pot. They're like, the government's stupid, pot is just fine. And then the Christians are like, pot is wrong, but not because the government says so, just because we're Christians and we think so, because it's a form of intoxication, right? But alcohol is wrong too, at least getting drunk is. That's what the Christians say, right? So, like, everybody is saying something different. So women are like, what are the rules? They're totally confused about what are the rules in society, right? What are the rules in life? So women just resort to, their base nature, which is to just get away with whatever they can get away with. Just do whatever they want as long as they can get away with it. Whatever is of self-advantage, as long as they can get away with it, right? And doesn't ruin their reputation, doesn't cost them money, whatever, right? They try to get away with as much as they can, but at the same time not piss anybody off and not do anything that backfires on themselves. But also because they don't think logically and they don't plan ahead or anything, not only are they very confused about what the rules are in life, and they're just trying to please everybody, but at the same time get as much for themselves as they can and get away with getting as much as they can by any means possible without any backlash falling on them. Right? That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to please everybody, but get away with as much as they can and get as much as they can without any backlash. They don't know the rules of life, and they're just going through life reacting blindly. They don't see cause and effect, so to them, reactions and consequences for actions are almost random. That's how it seems to them, right? Women don't realize that negative effects follow from negative actions, right? And so they just do whatever. And then when negative things happen, because of their short attention span, they don't realize that, oh, maybe these negative things are happening because of me, because of what I did, right? And women are not going to restrain themselves because they rely on men to restrain them, because that's how men and women evolved over, millions of years or whatever. So if men are, at least hundreds of thousands of years, so if men are so if men are failing to restrain women, which men are these days, and you can't even blame the government because men are failing to stop the government from being tyrannical as well. So, if you can't discipline women properly because of the government, then that's reason enough to overthrow the government. So if men are too afraid to overthrow the government, then that's still on men. It's still men's fault if men don't hold women accountable because of government, because men are also refusing to hold government accountable. Like, men even refused to do it back in the 1930s when it was really, really easy to do so. When the government took away the gold, it's infinitely harder to overthrow the government now. And yet, you can't say that, oh, well, the government's too powerful. No, back when the government was way smaller, men still were too cowardly too. But actually, I wouldn't even say that they were too cowardly to overthrow the government. They just had a very MGTOW attitude back then of like, the government can't force me to turn in my gold, so I'm not going to do it. They nationalized the gold, had like a $10,000 fine for not turning in your gold, but hardly anybody did it. Hardly anybody turned in their gold. Everybody's like, well, the government can't force me to do anything. I'm just going to keep on living my happy, free life, and I'm not going to adhere to any tyrannical rules. It's not going to affect me. They can't force me to turn in my gold, etc. I'm just going to keep it. Who cares that they made a tyrannical law that no one's going to follow, right? But yet the government, because they didn't overthrow the government when it made that tyrannical law, the government just got stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And gold remained illegal for 40 years. So, this is exactly what's going to happen. MGTOW men keep on just going MGTOW. The tyranny is going to grow and grow and grow and grow, and maybe for a long while it's not going to affect them. But then eventually it will start affecting them. Maybe even massively, probably, definitely massively. Especially if they're young right now, 20s or 30s. So if they're in their 20s or their 30s, if you're 20 something years old or 30 something years old, then you're probably going to see the massive tyranny affect even you, even if you're a top 5% or top 1% guy. The tyranny is going to eventually affect you, even if you are MGTOW. Don't act like it's not coming to your front doorstep. Don't think that it's not coming to your front doorstep. It is. It's just it may take a while, right? But like I was saying, it's still men's fault if men are not, restraining women because men are not restraining government. And if government is the excuse for why men are not restraining women, then men need to overthrow the government. And if men aren't saying that we need to overthrow the government, then that's their fault, right? So women don't really see cause and effect. And so when negative things happen, it seems to women like it's just totally random chance that this bad thing happened, right? And so women feel like they're kind of blindly moving through life and that things are just assaulting them for no reason. And they don't know what's going to happen if they do this or that. They don't know what the results are going to be, and they're not going to think it out ahead of time. They're just going to do what they feel they should, whatever feels good, and whatever people tell them they should be doing. But different people say different things about what you should do, right? Maybe their parents are telling them to do one thing, and the corporate feminist propaganda is telling them to do the exact opposite. And so they're just kind of blindly feeling their way through life, getting assaulted here and there, seemingly for no reason. And so women feel like it's all just random chance, whether bad things or good things happen. So they're just always anxious because they don't know if something bad is going to happen for seemingly no reason, even if it is happening for a reason, but she doesn't realize that because women don't think in terms of cause and effect or about long-term consequences for actions. So I think this is why the average woman has more anxiety than the average man. This has been Redshift, peace trucks for promiscuous men because they are literally the source of gynocentrism.